Hello and welcome to Not Dungeons and Dragons with me, Little Cat. Today, my friends Mike, Mosh, Adam, and I will bring you Thread Lightly, an RPG I had made up loosely based on Rosencrantz and Guilderstern Are Dead. If you know, you know. The rules of the game are simple. You flip a coin to determine whether something you want to do happens. You have to declare heads or tails first. And if there is an argument between players on the course of action, a questions game will be the decider. I've explained all of this in the background, so you will see if it happens when it happens. Anyway,
Mhm.
the premise is that all of you are the custodians of the empire. All three of you are sworn to help uphold the cleanliness and upkeep of, well, everything in the empire. Within reason, of course. Your main office is in the Emperor's Abode, a large, multi story, multi staircased monolith of an architecture with hallways for staff so that they remain unseen, lest the Emperor throws a fit. In a room,
Mm.
scarcely with any adornment, a table, a lamp illuminating the area, flickering. A surly woman with severe eye bags palms her face and pulls her skin taut downwards while looking at a file on her desk. She grumbles at it. Congratulations, Jerry. You're being transferred to the field unit for trials. If you like it, you can stay a wandering custodian. If you don't, I'll be glad to have you back here working in this oversized dollhouse. Michael, can you tell us about Jerry, please, including his one power and two flaws?
All right. I'm playing Jerry. They are a janitor. They look like a janitor. You could call them the generic janitor, or however you want to call it. They don't really care. They are fantastic at determining exactly what they need to clean a messy room and how long it will take them to do it. That's their power. As for flaws, while working, they disregard anything else around them to concentrate on their task. It's simply less important than getting the job done. Secondly, they are comfortable in their zone and task and don't have much motivation to go further or get promoted. So this does not sound like good news to them.
She realizes that you're making a face that you don't like. That she goes, I know, I know. The last thing you want to do is move away from you. Wonderful job. Look, this isn't for everyone, and I get it. You can come back later. But anyway, as the icing on the cake, you get to babysit. She stands up and walks to the door behind you to let in two young people. She looks at her folder and squints, the brows furrow as she tries to make out the words. She squints and she goes, um, this is, she looks at a young boy fellow, um,
Hmm.
Hillman, Heilman. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Uh, and then she points to one. Adam, can you please introduce yourself, your character, and their power and two flaws?
My character is Hillman, and his strength is like he's he is beautiful across all beauty standards. What I
Still
mean by that is
beauty.
like uh all countries, all species. Yeah, everything will consider him beautiful. And his flaws, he is very curious, but only in terms of smells. If you hand him anything, he will have to sniff it first, like sniff, because curiosity. Other than that, he is also actually quite shy, even though he is like flawlessly beautiful. He can't start the conversation first. He expect like everyone to come to him for conversation.
Okay.
That's Hillman.
Uh, does he say anything about how she pronounced his name wrong, or he's just staring at her like, what?
uh, he said like, oh, it's the second one, Hillman, not Hillman.
Hillman. Hillman. Sorry.
No,
You just
Hillman.
you're just too pretty. And finally,
Get
this
that a lot.
is Salem. Mush, can you please introduce yourself and your character and their powers and two flaws?
Okay, hi, my name is Salem. One thing that Salem is like really, really good at is baking. Like she can bake anything you ask her. If you like anything, anything when it comes to baking, she can just do it, and it'll taste really, really, really good. And two things she's really bad at is public speaking and confrontation. So if she's ever met with any kind of confrontation or talking to a group of people, she'll most probably like flunk and die
She'll just
out of
die.
embarrassment.
Okay. In that case, just as she looks at you, she sees you sort of she sees Salem sort of very apprehensive. She brings the two of you new people next to Jerry to look at all three of you as a unit, and she goes, it's a little bit of a ragtag, but you'll do well. She looks at Salem, but before anything, you all hear the echoes of a frail old man screaming as he's punted from the viewing chambers. You sort of know where it is since you've been cleaning these halls of this palace for so long that you're like, okay, I know that direction is the viewing chambers. You hear another grunt of disapproval from the woman in front of you as she rubs her temples again. She's like, the cleaner's work is never done. Anyway, last job in this place. I suggest you go clean up whatever the mess is. You know how the Emperor is. And then she pushes you outside. You all take a walk in the hallways, which is hidden from view, that has access to almost every room except for the bedrooms of important people. You pass by a sort of antechamber next to the throne room, and you hear the voice of the Emperor, which you know so well. Though most of the time you just call him the Emperor and you don't really speak his name. And you hear, boom, baby! And then you hear mumbling. You hear mumbling, there's talking, there's disapproval. There is a door in front of you where this is coming from. Does any of you want to sort of peek or do anything, or you just keep walking?
Can Jerry determine where the sound of the discleanliness was coming from?
The sound of the discleanliness is actually coming from the throne room next door. You're pretty sure there have been people there, and you can sort of figure out that you probably need to sweep. There's a lot sweeping. Every time they're sweeping. Every time somebody comes in with their trashy little sandals, dragging their trashy little mud into your beautiful, clean place. And this is like the 5th time today.
Right. Jerry will look at Hillman and Salem and say, well, he'll look at Hillman first. What cleaning products do you use on your face?
Actually, I only use water. It seems to work best. I don't use any skincare. Just naturally like this. I don't know how and why, but yeah.
Well, get that water ready. It will be useful soon. Then he looks at the girl, Salem. Why are you here again?
I'm here to bake for the royal family, since I'm the best baker around.
Okay,
I think
Salem.
you applied to the wrong job lah.
I'm sure the
You check
kitchen
the
is the other
phones.
way.
Um,
Salem, a little bit of a backstory with you. You had applied to the palace. Unfortunately, the application that you put was put in the sheet that says application for custodian instead of application for baker. Very, very hard to discern because of the
That's right.
bureaucracy of this entire place.
Hmm.
You had filled in form 15B instead of 15D.
oh, okay.
And but you also know that it's very difficult to find a job in the palace, so you're like, you'll take it, you will move up. There is things to do, and you know that somehow you will be able to identify food and be able to clean it well. You hope. Also, cleaning is sort of baking, right? Question mark?
Hmm.
Yeah. I have to clean after I bake, so
Oh yeah.
Okay. Next door to the place as you sit and have this conversation, um you walk and you sort of peek into the room, and there's still people milling about, so you wait for a while before they disperse. But you sort of see an old man having a conversation with a larger, more robust man. He looks like a farmer kind of person wearing green, but all you
Oh.
seem to hear is, "Beware the groove! The groove!" As he moves away from the younger man. The younger man sort of looks and nods and knots his eyebrows and is just generally confused and nods. And you hear the younger man go, "Right, right, the groove." And then he comes into the viewing chambers. You're now all sort of cleaning the odds and ends in the viewing chambers. Jerry, you find another piece of gum stuck behind one of the potted plants.
Ugh.
For a while, the younger fellow sort of looks at Hillman and is just confused, startled by this beauty. And then while waiting, walks to Salem and goes, "Oh, did you just bake bread?"
well, yes, I did. I have some.
You have bread? Oh, that's good. If you have any spare, I saw an older couple down there, and it seems that I'm just asking because you work in the palace, and I think you may have a little bit extra that they might not have. I'm sorry if I'm overstaying the welcome. I've got to go. I'm supposed to go see the emperor. Do you know where he is?
I'm not really sure where he is specifically, but it's probably it's some. If you see a big door, then maybe that's where he's at.
He turns around and then he looks to the throne that is sort of perched on top of a flight of stairs, behind which is a big door. Next to that big door is a smaller door that people actually use. And he looks at it and he goes, "Does that one count? I mean, there's a little door next to it, but does he come out through that door? It seems very large."
I mean, a king has got to make his entrance, so or an emperor.
Right. Okay. Okay. By the way, my name's Pacha. And then he sort of shakes your hand, if you give him your hand.
I do, but I laugh nervously. Nice to meet you.
He, he, the hand that he holds out, he's just awkwardly like, he brings it back in, like, right, sorry, you're probably busy. And then he walks away and he waits. Eventually,
hmm.
what happens is a hullabaloo of conversation. You see this man being carried off to a small sample of like a resort pool, a housing area on top of a hill. You hear conversations. Do you want to listen in, or do you want to just keep cleaning the area?
Sorry, who are you talking to now?
Anybody?
Okay, firstly, I DM'd you something.
Okay.
Secondly, Jerry will focus every single bit of malice and hatred into removing this piece of gum from where it shouldn't be. If necessary, he'll use a crowbar.
Okay. You are struggling, but you are struggling silently because you know that the emperor does not like to have his groove thrown, especially when he's lording over someone very rudely, telling them that he's going to be destroying their place, their home, essentially. Roll me your first roll to tell me whether you or not you manage to unhinge quietly this piece of gum. And
Alright.
picks heads or tails.
Tails.
Okay.
So elephant rolling. Yep,
Ah,
we got the
you
tails.
got it. Okay. Yeah, let me just open this. You roll a tails as you wish. Nothing bad happens. You manage to jerry rig a tool with a crowbar and some cleaning utensils and pop it very neatly. It hardly makes a sound. And then you throw it in the bin next to you. Eventually, what happens is the conversation dies down, and then you hear an older woman with a very robust looking man, but kind of stupid as he punches himself in the face and collapses, waltz into the room, and promptly gets fired. This is concerning. You never knew that it could happen to anyone in the castle, in the palace, especially somebody that's been working for so long. Also, I have been told that Michael has identified the movie that you are all the background of, and he gets one thing that he does that passes automatically.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the person gets fired, and then sort of barges into the other room, and now you see a smug emperor sort of sitting on his throne and watching other people come in as he's doling out punishments or rewards. Nothing different. All of you three, if you have nothing else to do, I'll move to the next sort of scene.
Hmm.
Okay. The next scene happens. It's night. You have been shuffled into the kitchen this time because the fellow, the big hulking fellow, is also a food enthusiast, which excites Salem particularly because baking is not just desserts. Baking can be savory pies. It can be fish. It can be chicken. Baking can be anything as long as there's an oven. One of the things that is being baked is called spinach puffs, and it's something that this big fellow Frank loves and is doing very well. And he's sort of milling around in the kitchen, and he's like, so if I'm outside, and I will be, just remind me to take the spinach puffs out of the oven because they can whoa, she's calling me, okay. And then he runs out of the kitchen, and then you hear more kerfuffle outside, but this time it's the woman's voice and his voice. Something Would anybody like to listen into the conversation while the spinach puffs is sort of in the oven? Also, what are you doing in the kitchen, all three of you?
Jerry is following after the nearest source of pollution creation.
Your nose takes you to a vial that you pinpoint is outside in the dining room. And the smell hits you in a very obvious way. It is acrid and sour and kind of smells like farm animal, but you're not sure what. You just know that the components in whatever is in that vial, if it falls on the carpet, it will stain and it will take you 3 days to clean that shit up. What about the
Do
other two?
I
What are you
smell
doing?
it too?
You don't smell anything.
Oh, then I want to go next to the oven.
Okay.
Smell the
I'm
puff.
gonna, yeah. Salem wants to intently check on the spinach puff.
Okay. The spinach puff is puffing up. It's a very delicious kind of puff pastry. The buttery goodness is separating in between the layers, and the spinach has a little bit of ricotta cheese with a little bit of salt, some onions. You don't know what else, and you think maybe you should ask what's his face, who hurriedly went outside. Just as you think you want to do that, you hear somebody say the word kill and poison.
Okay, actually, DM, how should do we take turns or what? Because I don't want to
I-
speak over the others.
How?
I-
Well, if you want to speak, you can speak. But if somebody else is speaking, I guess you sort of either let them go or you insist.
Okay, Jerry is going to smelling this horrible thing that will cause cleaning to be difficult. He will try to replace it with something else
Okay.
that won't stain as bad.
You find. Okay. Do you want to use the? Nah.
Yeah,
Well.
yeah,
we'll
he'll
leave
use
it.
the thing. Like 3 days of cleaning is too terrible to consider.
Okay. So you want to use your automatic.
Yeah.
Pass. Okay. What you do is you find a secret hidden sort of latch on the wall. It's not really a found. You knew it was there. You unhook it and it opens to see multiple small vials with stickers on them. And then you pick up a vial. It doesn't smell as vile as the one outside. It has a picture of a long-necked sheep-like creature on it. And then you sort of scurry to the side of the door and you peek at where the other vial is and you see a skull shape. And you go back to the room and you pick up the vial with like the long neck sheep on it and you're like, oh, this is a llama. And then you fold it over to mimic the skull. And because generally the cleaners in this palace are pretty invisible, so to speak. Like you wear tanned clothes, maybe with a splash of blue. You're quiet as a mouse. You do your job. You sneak into the room where the two other people are having a conversation. Flip a coin and tell me what you're doing to sort of get past these people to the vial. The vial is in front of you, next to a jug of wine and 3 glasses.
Okay, so Jerry will well, he's used to cleaning under glasses just for the sake of lifting a glass and cleaning underneath. So do I have to flip a coin?
This is more to sort of get you from the doors to the glassware, past
Okay.
the people talking.
I'm going for tails again.
Okay.
tails.
This thing loves tails. I tell you, it's put at 50-50, so there's no reason why there should be this many tails. You with
Oh, Jerry
finesse.
always picks tails because he's a pessimist, actually.
But tails has always worked out. Just FYI, your audio is really crunchy.
Oh,
So anyway, you with finesse pass by these people talking, and you overhear somebody saying, "Kill the emperor." Something something poison, something something. I will become empress. Ah, ha, 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 ha. And then you switch out the small stinky vial. You put it in your pocket inside a sort of concealed baggie that, when it's sealed, nothing can escape it, like no smells. Hillman, you're curious as to what your, I would call Jerry your supervisor at this point, is doing, because you didn't smell what it is that he smelled. So you're really curious. And then you see Jerry sort of pocket this thing and put it in his magical no smell space. Jerry, the task is done. You have replaced the horrible smelling thing with the better smelling thing. That will not take you 3 days to clean, because this one doesn't seep into the carpet, but puts a thin film between itself and the carpet, and when you clean it, it's like it was never there. Are you just standing around in the same room, or are you sort of moseying back?
I saw Jerry pocketed that thing, right?
Uh-huh.
I saw him pocket the
Oh,
vial.
yeah. For sure. You saw it, and you saw where it went as well. It's in one of the pockets on Jerry's cargo pants.
Okay. I want to go up to him. I assume sebab kita dah lama kerja, I can start conversation with them. So
Yeah.
I go up to him and whisper, "Did you steal something?"
excuse me. You're new on the job.
We allowed to take things then? What's in your pocket?
We're allowed to make our jobs easier. You don't want the Emperor to get angry if you can't clean up a mess.
Mind telling me what it is? Because
I have no idea, but it's going to create a terrible stain on the carpet if it's dropped.
Does
Now,
it
aren't you
have
supposed to be
any...
working?
The kitchen is pretty much clean, and
Okay, the moment he
after
says that, Jerry is going to sweep into the kitchen to see if it is indeed clean.
Oh.
to my standards.
Okay.
When
So
Jerry walked to the kitchen, I screamed, "And weren't we supposed to clean after he done baking?" Got
Is
no
it-
reason to clean multiple times.
I'm gonna ask Hillman and Salem, is it clean? Is it clean, or are you just making it up?
I honestly
Because
can't tell.
Krong is an expert baker, he baked very cleanly,
Oh.
I assume.
Salem probably doesn't know because she was just looking at the spinach pot rice.
Okay, Hillman,
Ignorant.
because you made such a claim, without checking, I assume. Why don't you flip a coin, and choose which side is clean kitchen?
The kepala.
Okay, heads for clean kitchen.
Random side kan. Lah.
Heads. Oh. Jerry, you waltz into the kitchen, and behind you, as Hillman sort of rushes in to explain under his voice so that whatever is happening in the other room stays unaffected. It's kind of true. Just also randomly, there's cat noises because Mush has a cat and the cat's name is Salem. So
Oh.
technically the cat is playing the cat. Anyway, Jerry, you hear this explanation. It's possible for you. It is, I believe, you are still irritated because you can pick out like little specks of dust. You can feel your nose itch, which is what makes you better at this job essentially, and it's what makes you comfortable being in the palace. But you accept this. You accept this. But how do you accept this?
Well, Jerry looks around and says, "Well, it seems you've passed the minimum requirements. So, since you asked, he will take the vial out of his pocket and pass it to Hillman. Can you tell me what this is then?"
Hillman, make
I grab it, then sniff.
it you
Big
open it
sniff.
up, and even without sniffing, like this happened so fast before you could stop yourself from taking a big sniff. The vial expels some very dark purple vapor. You sniff it and it burns your nose hairs. I want you to choose heads or tails to flip to see whether or not you puke.
Tail.
Okay.
Josh. Tails.
Oh,
It is tails.
damn. Okay. Okay. It's one for heads, one for tails. Okay, you lucky bitch.
As I hold the vial, God, this smell kind of spicy. I passed it to Mush. Is this used for baking or something? To Salem.
I'm not gonna. Salem doesn't want to sniff it.
Salem, you saw Hillman's face sort of go green for a while and then refresh itself as if nothing happened. Like his visage, his beautiful face just covered the fact that he was maybe gonna puke, you're not sure. But you don't
Still
have to
beautiful.
take a smell to see that the label is a skull.
Salem pushes the vial away and tells him that I'm not gonna smell that when it has a skull icon.
I guess it's not an ingredient then.
Well,
Okay.
Jerry speaks at this point. "Well then, as part of your next job, Hillman, get rid of it. I don't care how, but it mustn't mess anything up."
Okay.
Jerry, do you tell Hillman how long it will take to clean a mess if that thing spills?
Jerry has already said it causes a mess, and Jerry's telling him to get rid of it without causing a mess.
So yeah, the vial is in a bag.
It was in the pocket, but now it's being held by Salem.
Okay.
It's very small. The vial is maybe about 10 cm high and 3 cm wide. It's a very thin, tall-ish vial.
Hmm.
And it looks like it can break if you sneeze on it too hard.
Can I? I said, okay, I will get rid of it, Jerry. Can I look around the kitchen for wax paper or
Yeah, that's a lot.
baking paper?
Like this kitchen is decked out. Like it's got weird baking things from other countries. It's also got a spice rack from various other places that you don't know about. Like if you see one of the spice rack, it says Sri Lanka, and you're like, what the hell is Sri Lanka? What even is a Sri Lanka?
Can I take the wax paper?
Yeah.
and ask Mush for Salem for the vial back, so I can
There you
wrap it.
go.
So he wrapped it like 20 times menjadi tebal buat tak nak the smell to get out. Then he just chuck in the trash can.
Jerry, you see this happen.
Then, while dusting off his hands.
You're putting that in the kitchen.
Yes, but I wrapped it.
Salem,
So-
what do you think as a baker?
I don't think that's very safe, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
While you're
Uh,
having this conversation, continue first. Yeah.
I mean, after I wrapped it like 20 times, I can't smell it anymore, so I think it's good. Plus, guys, we're getting minimum wage. You just gotta do the minimum effort. No need to.
That's not how it works here, or the Emperor will have you out in an instant.
Don't
Where's
tell
he
me,
anyway?
Yeah, where is he?
You hear the conversation asking, "Where's the Emperor?" When you finally tune back into the room, aside from you, it's the dining room. You finally hear conversations about the Emperor, and you hear sort of Kronk pouring drinks, and then all of you who were previously preoccupied with the vial of foul-smelling liquid, which is now in the bins, realize that there is smoke coming from the oven. And now Kronk is rushing into the kitchen, desperately trying to save the food. He takes it out. It is charred. I
Oh.
mean, and he is panicking. He's not saying a word. He takes the plate and then he just dunks it in water. Like by default. And then
Jerry
he
steps
turns
clear
around.
away from this. This has nothing to do with cleaning. This is the art of messing things up.
Jerry, you're just waiting for the day this does not happen because now the water is sloshing all over the floor. There is soggy pieces of whatever that is. It used to be edible. Now it's just charcoal and it's messing up the floors. But Salem, you are shocked, and angry that this has gone to waste. And you left the oven for what feels like just a minute. There's no way it would have turned to charcoal in just a minute. Kronk has dunked it, and he's now looking dejectedly at the morsels of charcoal. He breathes a deep, sad sigh, and he goes outside, only for all of you to hear as the door opens, the shrill voice of an old woman telling him that he should serve the Emperor some drinks. The doors close.
Jerry takes the nearest mop and passes it to Hillman, and the nearest broom to Salem, and he'll go and see what he can salvage.
Hillman first smell the mop, because hand it to him.
It smells like a mop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then
grab-
I
oh,
look
sorry.
to Salem and ask, "Can you salvage this in any way? Like, is the center like charcoal too?"
Salem tries to. Is it smoking?
It is not smoking anymore. It's soggy.
Oh, okay. Salem tries to investigate the spinach puff to see if she can salvage it.
Okay, tell me how you want to sort of go through that, and then tell me which side of the coin you want before flipping it.
I want tails. Is that your one?
Rolling. Oh, you got a tail. Okay, that's the.
And she wants to do this by slowly like opening up the vest
Uh-huh.
and see if like the filling is still salvageable.
Okay. What happens is you take out each and every morsel. There's probably about 20. You also manage to find some leftover puff pastry that has not been used, and you think you can definitely salvage this easy enough. You look to Jerry, who's already furiously cleaning, and I mean furiously cleaning. And you think, okay, you take a knife and you start very precisely, like a surgeon cutting up a heart, opening the package, and thankfully the inside, the sauce, the the the, the spinach of the spinach puffs is not soggy at all. In fact, it smells delicious. The only thing that's wrong with the spinach puffs is the fire was too high and it singed the outside.
Oh.
And then you manage to take all the cream of spinach out, put it in a bowl. You also get the puff pastry that is still very, very cold from the ice box. Do you want to start making new spinach puffs, or do you want to make something completely different?
Okay, yes. I want to make new Swedish puff. Yeah, I want to take out. I want to take out the filling and everything, and say like, "Hey guys, it's okay. It's still salvageable. It's just an amateur mistake of overcooking the outside.
Nice.
Overcooking by a lot actually. So she wants to start making new Swedish puffs."
Okay. Hillman, what are you doing while Salem is making spinach puffs and Jerry is sort of lividly mopping?
Ada mop juga
All of you have like an entire sort of, you have a mop, you have a broom, you have a dustpan, you have cleaning supplies like Clorox, you have an air freshener with you. Hillman, the air freshener that you have is your very own blend. It smells as beautiful as you look, and
wow.
you sort of spray it into the air just to smell it, like for fun.
I take the air freshener and like spray ke atas kitchen to get rid of the smoke smell in the kitchen.
Okay, that happens. The spritz of the water actually coalesces around the smoke that is around the kitchen, and it pulls down the particles enough so that the kitchen is relatively clean-ish, and all of you are sort of cursing yourselves, wondering why this kitchen was built in a place with no windows.
Oh.
Like, why? There's a chimney sort of thing in the oven, yes, but you still need windows. Who designed this place? Eventually, Salem, you manage to make some, maybe instead of 20, you manage to make a little bit larger spinach puffs, and there's about 12 pieces, a dozen.
Okay lah, okay lah.
Then you hear, all of you, panic sounds from the dining room. The panic sound is coming from the guy, and then this angry sounds coming from the woman. Something, something, kill it. Something, something, llama. And then the man goes, but before we do that, can we have dessert? I made dessert. And then coffee. And you hear her sort of agree with all these things. And then she shouts that he needs to do the job. All of you eventually clear out the room. And by the time you get to the dining area, the food has been eaten, the drinks have been drunk. Salem, you get a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up from Kronk.
Ooh.
Do you say anything to him that he gives you a 2 thumbs up?
Thank you. And then she runs away.
Okay. He looks like he wanted to say something extra, and then he sees you run away, and then he goes, "Okay." All of you three, Salem, you're hiding behind one of the cabinets. All of you three see the door open. Kronk, take a sack. Take a llama that manifests itself in the dining room. Emperor nowhere to be seen. Llama, funnily enough, wearing emperor clothes. Emperor clothes being taken off. Llama put in the sack, and then Kronk going away. The dining room is filthy. Jerry,
Jerry sighs and goes to fold the clothes neatly first before starting to clean up.
Hilman, do you want to smell the clothes?
Yes, please.
Okay, you smell the clothes, and it smells like a mixture of llama and the emperor's room. And that's weird.
I smell it and say, why is there even a llama indoors? To Salem and Jerry. Isn't
It's
that
the
weird, guys?
Emperor. We don't ask such things.
Jerry,
Where
you have
is he though? I can smell him, but not here.
Whatever the Emperor does with the llama is his own business.
Maybe the llama is the emperor. She says
Oh.
in a joking way. Haha.
Yeah, maybe.
But maybe we can try to talk to it or something.
okay.
Mm.
Salem, you get a token that you can use to pass any skill check that you want. One skill check.
Okay.
Hearing that
Uh,
joke, what is your response
Who?
to anyone? Like all of you just looking at what rubbish.
Yeah,
Jerry
yeah,
just continues cleaning. Well, if the
Uh,
llama is the Emperor, I don't think anyone would notice a difference. He starts cleaning.
A bird.
I said to Salem, speaking of the Emperor, maybe you can give him some of the spinach puff so he can get promoted
Oh my
to
god,
chef.
maybe.
Yeah, on a look for him.
Jerry hears this and says, "Oh yes, you should do that." And he's thinking if she gets promoted, he won't. He can stay where he is.
The cat agrees.
So yeah,
Uh,
let's finish cleaning this up, then go find the Emperor maybe, or his assistant or something. To clean up.
can I walk over to the llama?
The llama
No.
is gone with the rucksack
Oh,
and trunk.
never mind.
They are basically, this room is empty now. It's empty, and
Oh,
there's food and drinks that have been eaten. Also, an empty vial with a llama picture on it that has a crease that looks like it's been folded over.
Also, Hillman wanna like get it back, right?
All of you have bags. You also have like bags to throw things away.
Sekejap, the clothes tu ada kat siapa? The
It's with
baju.
Jerry.
Jerry folds the clothes, puts them where they can be neat, and starts cleaning up.
Essentially, what you do is you take the clothes with you. You put it in your bag to put it in the laundry room of the palace. I'm gonna skip ahead for a while as all of you clean and all of you start talking about. I say all of you, but mostly two of you and Jerry scrubbing. Talking about how Salem can be promoted with the spinach puffs that has been saved, and how they're gonna do it. All of you look at the plans for the day, and you've been asked to go clean the area next to the river downstairs. All of you make your way there. It's the same night. It's not dark enough yet that you are unable to do your work. The lanterns have been lit. The sky is slowly turning dark. You hear conversations up top. How, again, the voice of the older woman hissing at the younger man, Kronk, telling him to do the job. Why hasn't he done the job? And Kronk whinging, saying there was some really delicious cream puffs and he had to eat it because if he doesn't, it would be a travesty that you know, something that good would be wasted. You pay no attention to this for the most part. Salem, you get excited about this because now you have somebody approving of your content. Hillman and Jerry, you're both sweeping the side of the floor next to some stairs. Salem, you're pulling like what you think is leaves and detritus from the river and putting it in a garbage bag. It's just like random garbage. And you hear continuously talking from up top. And then you hear a tailor appear, have a conversation, and then that tailor is pushed down. And all of you really quickly see this tailor fall in front of you into the river. He is now splashing furiously, grabbing at Salem because she is the closest person to him. Salem, what are you doing with this man? This man has grabbed onto a piece of garbage that you're holding onto.
Salem is going to let go and escape from her life.
Okay, Jerry will
scream.
use his long broom instead to shove the man to the other bank because he's getting in the way of the cleaning.
As Hillman heard Salem scream, he rushed towards her.
This man
And
falls into the water, grabs the garbage. Garbage gets let go. You see his eyes go wide, but just in time for Jerry to just casually like shove him to the other side of the river. Slowly, as the water pulls him just far enough. There's no splash beyond this part. And you watch this man just get drifted away.
okay, Hillman tried to like hold his broom so that the man can grab on it.
Okay, since this is happening in unison, I would like you to tell me heads or tails that it happens.
Tails.
Okay, tails.
Tails.
Oh,
Sorry.
each time. Heads. Hello, we've got so many heads, so many tails, and not enough heads. Anyway, so what happens is the broom pushes the man away. The man is slowly going away, but you go to Salem first to ask if she's okay, and then you realize, wait, a man just fell into the water and he's struggling. You take out your broom and you shove it in his direction, hoping that he would grab it. And then you realize this man is holding on to dear life to like just a bunch of random garbage. He looks kind of okay, like not seriously drowning. Maybe he'll be fine because you have to tell yourself that as he floats away and you can't do anything about it. In the background, you hear the voice of Kronk singing his own theme song. And it sounds like Mission Impossible. As he carries the sack out to the place where there's a huge drop off a waterfall. All of you become slightly interested in what is happening. You hear also, because you're in the vicinity, he cannot see you. He doesn't know any of you three are there. You hear him go, this is wrong. I shouldn't, but Yzma, what do I do? Does anyone want to say anything?
Jerry contemplates on what garbage is so terrible that it has to be thrown over the waterfall, because he's wanted to do that himself for a while now. So he will try to get a bit closer to take a look.
Okay. You shuffle a bit closer, but the shuffling is heard. Although Kronk doesn't turn around, he goes, Are you my conscience? I mean, please don't judge me. I know I'm just doing this for Yzma. You know how she gets.
Jerry will say, "Your conscience is clean. What's in the bag?"
He
Straight up.
stressfully sort of tells you, well, it's a whole story, okay? So Yzma got fired today. That means I got fired, but it's fine because I can always just get a job in one of the palace kitchens. I'm a pretty good cook. I think the girl upstairs did a better job at the spinach puffs, but I should be able to get the recipe from her and get her, some stuff, which is fine. But I was supposed to kill the emperor, and instead I accidentally took the wrong vial, and now he's a llama in the bag, and I'm supposed to get rid of this bag, and then he sort of takes the bag and he ushers it towards the gaping fall. It is very, very, very far down. He's still looking outwards. He is not turning back to face you. As far as he's concerned, you are his conscience, and he is holding on to the bag. His knuckles are white. He is gripping tightly. I don't really
Okay.
want to do this.
Jerry will say, "Is Esma going to be a cleaner empress for your conscience?"
He snorts and he chuckles and he goes, "Have you seen her workshop? Of course, I mean, the cleaners have a wild time. Jerry, you have cleaned the workshop multiple times. You don't like it." That's pretty much how you know whatever that vial is that's being wrapped in paper in the garbage bin in the kitchen right now can stay in for so long.
Jerry will cringe and say, "Well, maybe a llama will make less mess than the emperor or Esma. Let's put it back."
It's oh. But Yzma's gonna get angry. Do you think she's gonna find out? I could just put him. Is any one of you other people saying anything?
We
Okay, this is out of character, but who is Yzma?
Yzma is the old lady.
Oh, okay.
he's
Okay.
so basically like this three of us are hiding like behind something.
Yep, you're just in the vicinity. Let's just put it this way: the cleaners in the palace, people overlook them. So, as far as you know, you may as well just be invisible.
Yzma? Why do you think she seems like a sweet old lady? I don't think she would get angry.
Yeah, I don't think she will kill you. Conscience ada
Yeah.
banyak suara.
he sort of scratches his head, knuckles still tight on one hand, holding onto the bag, other hand scratching his head, and he's like, "Oh, I mean, if one of you is the angel and one of you is the devil, who's the third voice?"
Oh, I'm the neutral human one.
That that makes sense. That makes
I-
sense.
I'm your conscience.
That also makes sense. Um, right. I would know that she would be fine with me. Also, if she doesn't find out, that's fine, right? And then he sort of puts the bag down. And then you see the place that he puts the bag down is accidentally off like a little ledge. It's not as far down, but it is far enough for him to sort of lose the bag. All of you see the bag tumble down in a very Rube Goldberg-esque way as it falls into the marketplace and onto the cart that is owned by the young man, the young robust man that you saw this morning. The man wearing green, who is now walking away from the market into the forests. You
Meh.
see,
Less mess that way.
hearing that, you see this Kronk guy sort of internally panics, visibly externally panics, and then hearing you say that, he goes, right. No, nobody's gonna know. Cool. And then he sort of shuffles away upstairs. Jerry, you're just happy there's no mess.
Yep.
Work is done for the day. All of you go home. All of you are either excited or disdainful of the day that you just had, but you know you have another meeting tomorrow morning with your direct supervisor, the lady that you spoke to this morning. Sun comes up. You are in the office again. All three of you this time. Look, I hope all of you had like a good first start to your jobs because you're gonna be traveling quite a bit. Your first job is to go to this little village. There's a layover restaurant on the way, so you should be fine. There's lodging for you. At the restaurant, you're supposed to just help clean up because apparently the chef is the only one, and he's been threatening to leave for a while. And the kitchen's kind of nasty, and if we don't clean it up, they're probably gonna shut it down, which is bad because it's the only layover on the way there. So that's your assignment. Apparently, also, you're going to this place on the hill because there's going to be some kind of water theme park for the emperor. I'm not sure, but you're the first ones going in and you're going to be taking care of the place. Here, she hands you a piece of paper. And then she hands you a bag of money. This should be sufficient for you to buy all your supplies and get a donkey or a horse, whatever.
Hmm.
It's fine.
Oh. Oh.
So we're promoted to traveling custodian?
Yeah,
Neat, a promotion.
well,
Oh,
she
I was
looks at
gonna say, I thought this was way like above our pay grade. This assignment.
No, we're
Let
getting
me-
promoted. Isn't that great, Jerry?
Jerry has the longest face ever. It's going to reach the floor soon.
the old lady looks at you and she's like, look, for Jerry, this is not a promotion, this is hell. To me, I think it's a promotion. But I'm kind of used to this place, so I don't want to travel. You know, I've got arthritis on my knees, on my everything. I'm old.
Jerry
For
will
both of you,
attempt
this
to
is your first
develop a sudden asthma attack.
She,
No.
she looks at you and she's like, Jerry, we've gone through this many times. If you're gonna get an asthma attack, that's a lie. Get out of my office. I'll see you in a month for the quarterly update, and you can tell me if you want to keep being a traveling person or you can come back here. No, you can't do that right now because that's against company policy. Bye. And she ushers all of you out and she closes the door.
Lies limply on the ground.
It's okay, Jerry. The only way for us to get depromoted is for us to finish the job. I think that's how it works, right?
Ugh.
Bleh. Both of you, this is the first time you've seen Jerry behave this way because he has been a model cleaner, a model custodian. He can clean very, very like too well. He cleans way too well. He's also very good at identifying dirty things and how to clean them, and he's very efficient in it. This is the first time you see him being the garbage on the floor.
Hillman assumed that it's a new cleaning technique using his bag. Oh, okay. Take a note.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to sort of do before you leave?
Mm,
And we have to like pick a donkey or something, right?
It's
I
entirely up to
suggest
you.
I suggest to Salem that do you want to bring any snacks, any
Oh
baked
my
goods
god.
for the trip?
Yes, yes.
I think it's gonna be a long one.
Yeah, I wanna bake some bread.
Okay. You all go downstairs to the market. It is all hustle and bustle.
Wait,
Salem.
do we drag Jerry?
You tell me. You're the one that's telling me these things.
Jerry, do you wanna come with?
Jerry resists being dragged.
No.
Hillman, are you dragging Jerry?
I said to Jerry, imagine all the dirty things that you can clean along the way. The whole world is your dirty place. Wait. You're not bound by the palace now. You can clean everything.
Words of confidence from Hillman. Jerry, what are you doing? You're on the floor.
He's trying to
Thankfully for
imagine
you.
if he stays here invisible and long enough, people will forget that he can creep back in.
He lies there. There's a lot of cajoling from Hillman, and Salem is busy concocting ideas of cake and breads that she wants to bake, and suddenly you hear the old lady sort of rock out of the office,
No.
and she goes, "God damn it, Jerry, get the fuck out of here! I can see you."
Continues pretending to be dead.
You're not
Can I
dead.
talk to the lady? Like whisper.
Okay,
wait.
go ahead.
Start ke? I whisper to her, can you like threaten him with a bigger promotion or something?
That is a good idea. Jerry, if you don't do this, you'll never be able to come back here. You'll be stuck there forever.
Uh-oh.
Oh, permanent promotion,
A
I guess.
permanent promotion. Think about it.
Uh,
They're gonna get
he'll-
such a good news from you that you're gonna be promoted extra. That they'll be making you travel to, I don't know what this place is called, Azerbaijan.
Oh.
He will get up zombie like.
Then you hear her shouting from behind you as you all walk forward. Don't worry about it. It's just a month. You can come back after. If you want, I can put in a bad word for you and say you're just bad at your job outside the palace. You know. You're gonna get a pay cut if you do that. I'm just saying.
I get paid.
How do you think? Wait, hang on. I need to double check this. And then she disappears. All of you are left alone again.
I think we should just get this over with.
Yeah,
Jerry will lumber along.
or else. Okay.
I'm gonna take a quick short step to the market for Salem, who wants to buy supplies, I guess. In the market, money is not an object to you at the moment because you have enough money to prepare for essentially what is a 2-day trip out. 1 day to the restaurant and then another day to this hillside town thing. And it's your choice whether you want to bus sebelas it, like walk, or you want to get a mount. It doesn't really matter. But when you get to the market, Salem, you see a person with like a tiny kiln on a cart.
Oh.
And that person is sort of shouting in general, selling his wares. Everybody come look at this new method of preparing bakes. It's called the Easy Bake Oven. You can carry it anywhere, and as long as you don't turn off the fire, it will be just fine. It will bake you cakes, pastries, cookies, bread, anything you want.
Whoa.
Four.
Excuse me, sir.
Hey, young lady, how would you like it?
Is this kiln magical?
No, it is not. You do have to buy these special pellets. You see him take out like an entire crate of small, squarish like pieces of wood, charcoal wood. You need to buy these specialized pieces of charcoal, and they take a long time to burn, which means the kiln does not ever have to be turned off. And it is insulated from the outside world, so it will not burn this cart or whatever beast you choose to drag it with you.
Oh. Really? This is kind of cool.
If money is your problem,
dirty?
it is definitely not dirty, sir. Come over here. And he pulls Jerry to the side and he opens the door. As you can see, all the dirt, all the charcoal is kept inside here. And once a month, you can use a broom to push everything neatly into this bucket here, which I will sell to you for an extra, but at a discount of 20%. If money is your problem, it is not really a problem because we can give you a special promotion where you can just keep paying for months in advance.
Money kita berapa? Like berapa banyak?
Enough.
Sorry, how much?
Like you have enough.
Enough for that one thing or like enough for like
multiple things?
Yeah.
Jerry will look at Hillman. Can you use your face to get a discount?
Yeah, I asked Salem, so do you want it? Like the whole
I
set?
do.
Okay, let me try to bargain with the guy.
Okay,
Wait, I thought
good
I start
luck.
conversation.
Okay. Pick a side where your bargaining works and a side where your bargaining doesn't.
The face work.
Face, heads it works. Okay, real.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh no.
The good thing is you get to buy it. The bad thing is the discount doesn't happen because when you flash your dazzling smile and beautiful shiny face in front of him, he goes, "Oh my god." And he pulls out a stack of paper and he goes, "Do you really want to be working with these guys? You can work with me. I can help you. You and me, we can sell these things to so many people. Travel with me." Also, here's a contract.
Traveling with us.
And then he
and what-
whispers to Hillman, "Not with her,
Oh, with her?
with me."
Oh. Under my breath, I said, okay. It's okay. We'll just take the oven. But, really can't give us any discount?
He gives you a discerning face. He's like, I would have, but the thing is, no.
Okay.
He looks disappointed that you don't want to work with him and be the face for this product.
Mm.
Think about it this way. Like, imagine we could get you a portrait done, and then we can put your portrait next to this easy bake oven, and together we can sell this with your portrait and the easy bake oven. We can call it, what's your name?
Hillman?
Hillman, with a question mark.
No. Just Hillman.
The Hillman's easy bake oven. Think about it, kid.
Hillman considers, but decided to just focus on the quest. It's okay, but maybe later lah. You can find me in the in the palace if you want me. If you nak offer lagi nanti. But for now, no thanks.
I can't give you that discount, but I will call you.
Yeah.
He sells you the thing, full stack. You have the special garbage bin thing. You have a special broom. It's very cute. An easy bake oven on top of a cart. The thing is, the cart doesn't come with a horse or a donkey, or a pig or whatever, or a giant cat. So you're gonna have to buy that. He pushes the cart away just next to him, and then he pulls out another cart with the same thing, seemingly out of nowhere. So now there's two, and he continues his spiel again. Now you have an easy bake oven with you.
Yay!
Hey, kan tarik sendiri.
Oh,
Let's look for something to pull it along with, hopefully self-cleaning.
Okay. What are you guys looking for? There are people who sell sheep, donkeys, a horse. There are no predators for sale. There are people selling very large chickens. They call it a turkey, but you're not sure.
Which of those makes the least mess?
Birds are bad because they poop out of their cloaca and they have no sphincter.
Yeah.
Essentially, donkeys and horses can be used. Can be made to use like a poop bag, which you will have to clean out, but at least they don't poop on the ground and soil the wheels. So
Right.
it could be either one. Donkeys are more expensive because they're kind of stubborn. Horses are horses.
Horses it is.
Okay, you buy a
Yeah.
horse, you strap it up. Is the horse a specific color? And does it have a name?
Jerry only cares that the horse is of a color that hides dirt.
Great.
the horse's name
I
is
see.
Sugar Cube.
Sugar cube. Okay. Jerry, it pains you hearing anything with the word sugar in it. But it is bought. All of you now make your way to the restaurant. You reach the restaurant eventually. After about a day's worth of heart to heart with your new charges, Jerry, you don't like the forest because there's a lot of dirt. And every time you clean the dirt on top, there's more dirt below. It's never ending dirt. This is why you love the palace. So, seeing the restaurant is a wonderful respite for you because now, if you clean the floor, if you clean the dirt off the floor, it is just clean floor and not more dirt. All of you are greeted by a lady with, I can't remember, I think her hair is red or something, and she goes, "Oh, you're the guys from the palace, right? So myself and the guy at the back we're having some kind of problem with the cleaners, which is why we called upon all of you lot to come here and clean just for the day until we get a replacement. These are our servers. Just I'm gonna let you know that sometimes we can be asked to collectively sing happy birthday. Are you okay with that?"
I am not okay with most of this. Let's get it over with.
Fair enough. Do you want to wear special uniforms, or are you good with your own? Also, your quarters will be over there. She brings you to very nice lodging, bed, table, uh, cleaning area. Like it's very comfortable. And a separate room for Salem. So
Jerry
Oh,
looks at the condition of the uniforms. Is it cleaner than the floor?
the floor is not as clean until you clean it. The uniform is dusty. It smells musty.
Jerry
Like
will decline the apron.
verify and I'm BIing.
Salem has gone to get water. You decline the apron, and then she looks at all of you and she's like, anything's fine. It's not like you're gonna be out servicing people outside. Food will be provided, drinks will be provided as long as you don't eat extra. You don't eat a lot, right? This is still a business.
Hmm.
That's fine.
I will
Anyway,
try not to eat most of it.
she looks at you. Are you sassing her?
Jerry is looking about to see what's still clean around the place that needs work.
Okay. She considers what you just said and decides to not do anything about it. And she's like, "Search yourself." Anyway, that's why we hired you. Uh your work starts in the morning, so good night. Also, if you want some food, you can just buy some from the restaurant. No biggie. I'll on the house. And then she disappears. Hillman and Jerry, you are both left alone in this room. Jerry, you're already sweeping the floor with
Yeah,
your
he's not waiting until morning.
portable cleaning utensils. How long does it take you? It's a very simple room. I would say 2 cots, 1 table. There's an outhouse outside, which you think you also should clean that,
Oh.
and 2 cabinets, one for you and one for Hillman.
Jerry determines that this will cost him the sleep of the night, but it will be worth it.
This is not the first time you've forsaken sleep for cleaning, and often you've considered it better than sleeping because now it's clean. Hillman, are you staying awake through this, or are you just you see this old man, you're like, nope, I'm going to sleep tonight?
Is Jerry cleaning my area too?
Yes.
I said to Jerry, "Oh, since you're cleaning for both of us, let me sleep for the two of us. A double sleep."
Jerry is focused into the rhythm of cleaning.
Good night.
Go to sleep. This day also ends quite wonderfully. It was just very comfortable travel. Salem has been baking simple breads in the Easy Bake Oven, so you've been having quite hearty meals from whatever you've managed to gather as resources in the market. At some point, you probably had an apple pie, pocket-sized apple pie, pocket pie, not unlike pocket sand. If you throw it in people's eyes, it will hurt. Don't do it. But it's just very strange. Like you feel like all of you are not done with the emperor and this Yzma person and Kronk. Especially since when the morning comes, all of you are greeted with a squirrel who sort of chitters at you, gives up, and then runs back into the forest. You go to the kitchen and you start cleaning, and you see an angry man. I wouldn't say angry, frustrated and tired man, making food with very strange names. And he looks at all of you and he's like, okay, I'm the only one in the kitchen. Everybody's waitstaff. What I need from you is that you stay out of my way and you sort of clean.
Jerry
because
starts leaving the place already.
he's like, okay, that works. And then he looks at the other two people. And he is Mush back?
Yeah.
Okay. He looks at Mush and he considers you for a moment and he's like, is that flour in your hands?
Um, since you said you were the only one cooking and baking, I thought I would help.
Excellent. Why don't you help me here? He gives you a list of recipes, all of which you're like, why do they use such stupid names? Just call it a pie instead of like a baked mole in butter and stuff. It's just pie. You
Oh,
accept this. Hillman, you're just sort of standing there, dazzling
Mhm.
people and holding a broom.
The, the restaurant dah start lah.
Dah.
Dah open.
Dah.
I offer to be like usher to like promote the restaurant outside.
Oh, we already have that. We just need you to clean. Unless you can persuade one of the other wait staff to be cleaner for the day, then by all means.
Ada. Then I ada berapa orang wait staff? Like
There
would-
is about 4 of them, including the lady that greeted you yesterday.
I go to the one that like closest to my age
Mm-hmm.
and like ask them want to switch job.
She is a very young, sort of very shy girl with pigtails, black hair, green eyes,
Aw.
and she goes, sorry, switch jobs? To what?
Huh?
To what?
To what?
Yeah, what do you do?
Custodian.
Oh, what's a custodian?
Oh, it's very easy. You just have to clean. Hey, wait. I thought it's.
What?
You just. Okay. Rewind a bit. I just go to her like and like stare.
In that case, we rewind a bit,
Sorry.
and the
Looping.
same dark hair, pigtailed girl, young lady, just like first she sidesteps you, and then she gives a menu to a person, and then she sees you again, and then she sort of like raises an eyebrow, and then eventually after 10 minutes she goes to you and she goes, can I help you? Do you want to sit down? We have tables over there. Do you want coffee?
Oh, I actually work here. Started today.
Oh, what's your uniform?
Oh, we decided not to use it because it's kind of dusty.
You can do that? Every time I talk about not wearing a
Yeah.
uniform, the boss screams at me.
Oh.
Saying it's a public image thing. Well, she doesn't actually scream. It's just her voice is just really loud by default.
I heard that.
So how can I help you? I mean, I know you're not wearing the uniform. And then she looks at you. Hey, do you like you're holding a broom?
Said, do you need extra help for your job? Like
No, we're kind
since my job is basically like donated by Jerry. He's really good with cleaning. So
Jerry's in the background sweeping as usual and cleaning.
Jerry is like, he's got Eye of the Tiger playing in his
Yes.
background, and every note is like one sweep of the broom.
no.
It's swish, 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 swish. She
So
she
I can
looks and
help
sees
you
Jerry.
like can help you to like attract customers or something.
Okay. I mean, there's enough of us. I guess you could ask the boss.
Ya, yang tadi tu bos ke cakap yang boleh tukar tu?
To the cook.
Oh, you know what? Let me just clean outside. So, like orang nampak I.
Oh, okay. I mean, we usually get a rush at around 2. That's when the travelers sort of stop by and have lunch. They don't really stay for the night, and then they just keep moving. I she looks conflicted. You've seen that face before, like it's the kind of face where you want there to be more customers, but more customers means more work.
Oh. Oh yeah.
So she's like, I guess yeah, you could clean outside definitely. Yeah. Hey, if there's a lot of people coming in today, maybe that will be a good thing, and maybe we'll get more tips. Yeah.
Okay. I go outside and like clean.
Okay. You're cleaning outside. Salem, what are you doing in the kitchen?
I'm trying. Okay. I want to help this guy, but I don't want to like overstep my boundary. Like it's his kitchen. Like as a baker, I understand his like a chef's kitchen is like his own. So I want to ask him like, is there anything I should know before I start helping you?
Oh, that's easy. Just stay out of my way. Don't ask me any stupid questions. Just follow the recipe. Also, yeah, just do your own thing. Orders come in. I will tell you what to make, and then we make the thing. And you put the food at the window. Ring the bell. Orders out. Should be kind of easy. The problem is the menu's really big, but the good thing is people just tend to order the same thing over and over again. And he brings out this giant grub type creature. It's like a lobster, only it's a bug.
Oh,
It's real easy. You just have to use the clippers, the scissors to cut the sides, and then you sprinkle some paprika and salt and blah 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 blah. He teaches you how to make that, and then put it in the oven, and voila, it's done. You
oh.
thumb through the recipes. Can you make me a roll to see? Yeah. Tell me which side of the coin you want to see something that would be beneficial for you.
Tails.
You got
Oh.
heads. You see nothing of interest. They're pretty much savory items. You see something for an ice cream, although you also see that note that has it crossed out. And then you see a post-it note on that says, "Do not make ice cream. We do not have ice. What do you think I am? Made of money? Question mark, question mark, question mark." Things go by. You start hearing orders coming in from the window. Hillman and Jerry, you see the 2 people that you saw last 2 nights ago. You see an old lady, very rickety, looks terrifying, and you see a large man, kind of stupid, rock up, and you see them arguing about the fact that somebody did not do a murder, and that somebody needs to fix it real fast.
Jerry just thinks to himself, oh no, customers. That's the worst thing ever.
But just as you see this, you also all clock on the other side of the room. A man wearing green robes, sort of youngish, middle age, maybe. It's the same guy that spoke to you at the throne room. And a llama wearing a wig, a lipstick, and pretending to be his wife. You see the big man Kronk order. You see him getting confused. You see the old woman complain about something. Then you see Kronk stand up and go to the kitchen. Salem, the kitchen doors open to see Kronk. You're surprised. He is surprised, but he looks at the chef and he goes, hey, this thing, does it have this? Do you have pancakes instead of toast? And just as all the questions start pouring out, the chef puts his skillet down and he goes, you know what? I have done enough for this place. I quit.
Huh?
He takes off his apron, he puts it on the table, and he looks at Kronk and he goes, if you want to dictate what's going to be on the menu, why don't you cook? And he leaves. Kronk panics, looks at you, looks at the menu, looks at the apron, and immediately takes the apron, puts it on, ties him, and he goes, oh, if I don't do the job, then nobody gets to eat. And he starts cooking. The scary old lady.
Okay,
Before-
for Jerry's side, it's this llama bullshit again in his mind. So he looks around for any piece of furniture or cloth or whatever that can serve as a screen to try and block line of sight.
You can pick up a room divider that is like a folded piece of bamboo. It's a 3-piece room divider.
Okay, he will set that up around the llama and whatever the crap is going on there now. He doesn't really care. Just experience has taught him that the old lady seeing llamas tends to create more work for everyone.
So do you block the old lady from seeing the llama?
He blocks the llama from the old lady. It's better to put it closer to the llama than the old lady.
Okay, so you essentially make a private room for the llama, which the
Yeah.
llama sort of acknowledges and goes, oh, thank you. This is so great to have a private location for you to eat the food. I hope the food is nice.
He tunes out of the sound.
Eventually you see Pacha stand up and then panically looks at the old lady and then rushes into the kitchen for God knows what reason. Then you, like immediately after he rushes into the kitchen, you see him rush out of the kitchen and sits back down and he's mildly sweating. Hillman, from the outside, you also see this happen. And this is very curious for you because why are these people here? This is very coincidental. Are they following you? Question mark. Jerry,
Jerry zones out. Llamas are talking. This is not usual. He must be working too hard, so he must try working harder.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I go to Jerry and points out that that's Isma, kita tahu kan?
Yes.
And suspect that it's maybe for an inspection of our usaha.
Your Isma is your direct
Assessment,
supervisor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jerry, I think they're here to like assess our skills or something. What do
Are
we
you
do?
are you trying to make us fail by interrupting me?
Oh,
Well, then try to look busy or something.
Adam Hillman
I don't-
continue to sweep but away from Jerry, like the other side. So nampak macam cover more space.
Okay. You see Isma sort of look disconcertingly at the menu, and then both of you here, Jerry, you're trying to tune it out, but it's not very difficult to sort of hear from your periphery a conversation between Pacha and the llama. You hear the llama say, "Well, what do you mean? No, they can't. If Isma is here, I'll probably just go here and tell her to take me back. You know, it's not like she wants to murder me or anything. I mean, you're the reason why I'm here." Then you hear Pacha going, "No, no, no, they're gonna kill you." And then argument, argument, argument. Meanwhile, Isma is going into the kitchen and throwing random request after random request, being essentially a Karen. And Salem, you're just taking this. You're writing down each request as they come, but you're also observing Kronk taking each request and sort of fulfilling it with so much finesse.
Jerry tunes out the sound like, of course they're nobles. They think every murder is about them.
Salem, you were saying?
No? Okay. Miss, uh, we're kind of understaffed.
She doesn't even hear you. She's like, and make the poached egg and omelet. And then she leaves. And then she comes back in. On second thought, the omelet, I don't want it anymore. Make it toast with bread and then poach the egg and put it on top of the bread. And sprinkle just 2 shakes of pepper. Nothing more. Kronk, are you listening to me? And then she leaves. And then you see the llama walk in and say something to a similar effect. You're just watching a montage of these people just give order after order after order, and Kronk just balancing it. But you also see that he is not doing very well after a while. He's like, do you remember, what was it, the fruit salad first? And you... Kronk.exe is not working.
Oh my god.
He is now spaced. He's holding a skillet.
Wait, so the llama came in, right?
Mm. There was a llama. There was a
Uh,
llama. There was a llama. He's here.
Yeah. Also, are you okay? I
No,
know it can be a little bit overwhelming, but
you're-
we can try to get through this together, even though we're really understaffed.
you are absolutely right. Cool. And then he sits down with you and he was like, okay, what did she say? There were 2 she's, right?
There was Isma and what's the other one?
You mentioned a llama. Why would a
Oh,
llama be talking?
yeah. There was Isma, and then there was the llama. Isma was saying that we should take out the omelet or something like that. So go do that real quick.
Got it.
Boss.
Got it. He does the thing. Outside, both of you see this interplay of one goes in, comes out, the other one goes in and comes out. And at some point, they were both looking in the same direction, and then they both sat back. And then you see Isma get up, go to the kitchen, and say loudly for everyone to hear, Kronk, it's time to go. There's no time. We're wasting. What is this? This is garbage food. Let's go.
Oh.
Kronk can't go.
Excuse me?
Kronk has to work here.
And who are you?
Okay, my name is Salem, and I just started working here. And Kronk kind of made the main chef quit, so he put on the apron and decided to do it himself.
That is not any one of our problems. Okay. Kronk, we're leaving. And then she leaves the room. Kronk looks at you with like sad puppy dog eyes. And then just slowly takes off the apron, folds it up, shrugs, sorry, and then leaves.
Now we're even more understaffed. Salem wants to start crying.
Hillman and Jerry, your spider senses are tingling. Jerry, you are hyper focused on your work, but you know when your staff needs a little bit of a pep talk, mostly because you want it done. And when staff are disappointed, depressed on, or essentially sad, they're not doing their jobs.
Jerry goes into the kitchen. Are they gone yet?
You see Salem alone and crying.
Okay, I think it's about time we take a break. We should get going too.
I just wanted to speak.
Just as
Hi,
you say,
man. I need your voice in here. Use your face.
Stupid joke. I go in the kitchen and see Salem crying. So I ask her, why are you crying? I think you just got a new job, right? As the head chef.
This job is so overwhelming.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't pull in those customers.
you see the redhead woman come in and call for 5 different orders.
I asked Salem, do you want me to be a sous chef or anything I can try to help?
You can try.
So we 5 orders.
Okay.
Is it?
Okay, Jerry goes on. Jerry will tackle it from the other angle. As a cleaner, how can he make customers leave to reduce the number of orders coming in?
I think you
He'll
should
make
do
his
the
cleaning.
opposite.
He'll make his cleaning as obnoxious as possible to get customers to leave. Then he
Okay.
will surely get a bad recommendation. Perfect.
Okay, that we'll hold on to that. Actually no, we'll not hold on to that. Pick a side to see how well your plan goes.
All right. Tails.
Oh,
It's always
very good.
pessimistic.
Damn, this thing. Tails. You think your plan would work, but you need to be both obnoxiously doing your job, but at the same time, not incur the wrath of your employer. This is not the first time you've done this.
Mm-hmm.
The most recent time you've done this was to dodge another one of those raises that people keep talking about. You don't understand why people want to leave the palace when the palace is nice and easy to clean. You pick up your mop, you put enough Clorox into the water, enough so that it tickles people in the nose when they smell it. You also pick the most offensive smell in your repertoire. Offensive, nice smell in your repertoire, which you understand to be lavender. Although it is very mild and calming for some people, for the most part, you know that it just irritates people, especially in a public setting. You're not sure why. You pour a truckload of lavender smelling things, oils, into that bucket with a Clorox, and you start mopping. And you mop outside, and people start to thin out. While this is happening, Salem and Hillman, one of you decide to make a roll to come up with an idea. Salem, I will help you by reminding you that there is something that you want to achieve in this whole game, and I think this is the
Oh.
perfect place.
True. Sekejap. Okay. Kimnal, we're gonna get our shit together.
Oh. Okay. What do you need me to do?
I need you to get me these ingredients. And it tells him to get ingredients for a cheesecake.
Just as you say the word cheesecake, the red-haired
Strawberry cheesecake.
lady pops into the window and she said, "Hey, I've been waiting for 10 minutes. The food's not done yet. What's happening?"
There's been a change of plans and a lot of staff changes, miss.
Understandable. So what do you want me to do?
We're going to start by giving out complimentary desserts, which is cheesecakes.
And
Himna,
this will
I
help
need you
me
to
as
get
a
those ingredients as soon as possible.
this will help me as a business. How?
You'll see. Once you get a taste of these cheesecakes, you won't regret it.
Okay, flip a coin to doubt. Give me a side to see if she accepts your explanation.
Heads.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay.
Heaven.
She looks at you and she's like, "All right, I'll do what I can." And then she leaves, and you hear her sort of telling people, "Unfortunately, blah blah blah, wait stuff, blah blah blah. You know how it is in this climate. But if you wait for a while, we're gonna have cheesecake for you." Things seem to be going okay.
Okay.
Jerry, at the same time, while she's explaining this, you furiously mopping and cleaning people's shoes and wiping their pants. You know the lint rollers?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing that too to people's pants. It's very invasive.
Oh,
But at the
God.
same time, they can't decide whether it's good or they're offended. They're like, "Oh, lint
Oh.
roller." At the same time, stop touching me. Why are you touching me? Stop. Oh, pants are clean. You know, these pants, I have 3 cats. This is one of the stories that you hear, obviously, unless you're tuning it out. You know, I appreciate
Tuning
what
out.
you're doing.
Tuning out.
At the
Move
same
fast.
time, stories and stories and stories, and this seems to be working, because while you're cleaning, people are starting to itch their nose, but they hear cheesecake, so they're like, "Okay, we'll stay for the cheesecake." Some of them do leave because their food has been their food has come out earlier and they've paid for their food and left. You're left with maybe 3 tables. Outside, you see the llama sort of panic and run and then disappear into the forest. You don't know where they went.
Jerry just thinks, good riddance. They seem to bring trouble.
why don't you flip me a coin? I'm going to say, heads, you understand where they are going. Tails, you do not, and you don't care.
Can he voluntarily fail this?
Okay, yeah, you can. They go into a direction. And you're like, I'm just gonna clean. Things are smelling very adequate to you. Like, it smells of clean. It smells like a hospital instead of a restaurant.
Appetizing.
Delicious. Eventually the cakes come out. Salem, let's see how well you do with baking that cake. We know that you bake well, but is this your magnum opus?
I'm going to use the token.
Okay, you've been holding on to that token. The cakes come out, and miraculously, you don't even have to chill the cake. You make a beautiful strawberry compote. You put it all over the cake. You put a sprig of mint on top, and you serve it to everyone, and they think it is the best thing since sliced bread, which hasn't been invented yet. They don't even know what sliced bread is. They slice the bread themselves. And they've got rave reviews, and the lady who owns the restaurant is looking at you with amazement. She goes, right. So the lack of staffing is something that we will have to sort of deal with. Thankfully, people are coming in tomorrow, and the chef, you know, I mean, I know I'm gonna have to talk to him, but he probably won't be continuing. Would you like a job?
Yes, actually. But I want a sous chef, at least 2.
I'm gonna have to work on that. Look, it is doable, but my problem is, aren't you still employed under, you know, the palace as
Oh,
a caretaker or whatever that word is?
I'll have that sorted out. We're basically replaceable there. We're just custodians.
That is unfortunate. But at the same time, you know, you have a place here. Here, why don't you write your name down and where I can contact you and other details, and you know, when you can come back in so we can prepare for you, essentially.
Okay. I'll write my theme down. And then I wanna offer the cheesecake to Himnal and Jerry. Like 2 slices each.
Ooh.
Two entire slices each. She thanks you, sees the cake come out, and then goes, look, I'm just gonna close the restaurant for today, so you have all day to clean up whatever messes. She looks at Jerry. Thank you so much for starting on that. I was getting a little bit worried, especially since that lady with the weird hair, she spits a lot. And you know that she was referring to the llama. For some reason, she doesn't realize the llama is the llama.
Jerry, as far as he's concerned, the spitting one was the other one. That was far more offensive.
She's like, true. All right, I'm gonna leave you guys here. Work hard, I guess. And then she leaves. She says goodbye to all the patrons, and then she closes the door, closes the window. The smell of Clorox intensifies now because all the windows are closed. She looks at you, and then she realizes what she's done, and then she opens the window again. Maybe I should keep this one open. Good evening. I'll be back later. I'm just gonna rest and try and find a cook for tomorrow. Otherwise, we're not gonna be opening. She leaves.
Jerry moves out of the establishment and starts preparing the donkey for travel.
It is time for all of you to start moving ahead. You have cleaned. Salem, how many extra cakes did you make, if you made any?
I mean, one more.
Okay.
One more, yeah.
You put it under the very ornate cake holder. Sorry, cake holder thingy. I don't know what it's called. The one with the glass lid, and you put it as a centerpiece in the very, very now spotless restaurant. You all have cleaned every tile, every grout is clean, pristine. You can eat the cake off the floor. That is how clean it is. Not that you want to, because there's plates. What were you, born in a barn? You pack up after eating the delicious cake. Jerry, you're not a fan of sugary stuff, but this is a cake. So are you going to give it a pass?
Jerry just consumes it because he needs some carbohydrates to replenish some of the energy lost from not sleeping and everything. Then he's going to crash in the cart after that.
You get a boost of sugar and a sudden spike of energy, but you do end up crashing in the cart. And Salem and Hillman, you bring your cohorts very easily to the town that you're supposed to be in. And that town, for some reason, they greet you and they're like, this place is kind of popular. Usually we don't get any visitors. You're here to clean. Why did they send palace custodians?
We were sent here to clean, yes.
Complimentary.
That's new? Okay. You can start there. They point to like a random house. I guess. And then he continues playing chess with his friend. The friend sort of eyes you and is like, sus. But, what do I care? Here's the thing. Once you've sort of reached that place, Jerry, you see on the ground lines, as in travel lines. Someone drew lines all over the ground, and now you all have to clean it up.
Jerry grabs the broom and doesn't consider any further. Remove it, erase it.
You start cleaning the lines, and because the lines have to be cleaned, all of you follow Jerry cleaning the lines, and eventually you find yourself going back towards the palace.
Oh.
These lines are dashed going towards the palace. You don't understand what's going on. Like, why would people just draw lines on the ground? It's like it's leading to a certain place. So you sweep the lines. And then eventually, all of you find that the lines that you have ended up cleaning, which is spotless, by the way, you look behind you, no lines. You look in front of you, lines. Thankfully, the lines you realize is just a bunch of paint and chalk. Easy enough. Clean, clean, clean. It's dark now because it's been about a day's travel. 2 days travel, in fact. So much lines. People need to stop. When you reach a secret room, you're back at the palace. Jerry, you have never seen this room. You've seen Yzma's workshop before, but this is new. You're as shocked as anyone else because as custodian, you're supposed to know each and every location in the palace. And you're like, how? But just as you ask how, and you follow the last line, you find that Kronk is not facing you. His back is towards you, and he's talking to himself again. And he's again negotiating whether or not he should kill the llama, who is now in the custody of Isma and Kronk.
Jerry will grab Selim and nudge her forward because he doesn't want to deal with this again.
Um. Wait. So we see a llama?
Yeah, you see the llama and he is kind of scared, but you also see that Kronk is talking to himself, asking the real questions like, should we be doing this? And the llama is sort of desperately saying, look, if you don't do this, I will make you I will make you a cook in the shop because you like to do that, right? You like to do that? Trust me, I'm the emperor. I might look like a llama now, but I'm the emperor. You know that, right? And Kronk's
No.
like, oh, I don't. Hey, Conscience, Conscience. It's any one of you three. You were talking to me. Oh, thank God.
Hello.
What do I
This
do?
is your conscience.
What do I do? The llama sort of looks at him and then looks in the direction of your voice and sort of like, what? And you
This
see
is
the
your
llama mouth to
conscience
you like,
speaking.
does that work?
Yes. Sometimes conscience can be sentient.
Okay. And you see the llama sort of reverse into like a darker area where he cannot be seen, and Kronk is still sort of flabbergasted that he can hear his conscience again. And he's like, I haven't heard you in like 2 days.
I've been taking a break, you know.
I
Sometimes
get it.
we're overworked. So yeah.
I get it. There was the squirrel, here, and Isma was really rude to it. Anyway, I don't know what to do. I've been working for Isma for a while, and then the emperor says that if I quit, if I help him, he's gonna make it easier for me, and then I can be hired as like a cook in the kitchens. I love cooking. I can make those spinach puffs again, and correctly this time because Isma's not shouting in my ear.
Pretty good.
This is your conscience telling you that you should make the spinach puffs again. Woo!
Yeah. But what do I do? Do I deny Isma? He is standing in front of essentially what is a lever. And Jerry, under him is a trapdoor.
Under who?
Under Kronk is a trapdoor. You've used that trapdoor multiple times to throw away garbage.
Where's the llama right now?
The llama, pick a side of the coin to see if you see the llama.
Okay, tails. Oh, for
Oh,
once.
you
no.
don't see the llama. You have no idea where the llama is.
Well, Jerry doesn't feel particularly begrudging towards Krong because Krong is like carrying half the castle competency on his shoulders. He's not going to do anything about the trapdoor.
Okay. You also find that just generally there is pieces of cloth in places. It's kind of dusty here. There is cobwebs in the top corner ceiling. That catches your eye for a while. While
This is...
Go ahead.
Okay, so it seems to be Krong alone here. There's nothing else in this room, right?
At the moment.
Okay, he'll just start cleaning first. Like,
Okay.
how can he miss this room? Unacceptable. Clean.
Unacceptable. It is way dirtier than what the usual thing is. By dirty, I mean dusty. And it stinks. You smell the same acrid scent from the first vial that you smell here. Just then, Yzma barges in. Hillman, what are you doing?
I try to hide lah from Isma jap. Dia nampak ke kita?
They don't see you at the moment.
I try to find somewhere to hide.
Okay.
Listen.
Pick a side to see if you hide accurately. Because you have to remember, Salem is talking
Tails. Oh,
to our buddy Kronk here, who is having a crisis of conscience. Tails, right? Okay. Roll 'em.
yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Tails. You manage to sequester yourself into one of the gaps. And you bump into the llama who sort of yelps. What are you doing? What are you? Hey! Weren't you the guy at the restaurant?
Jap, so now do we know he's the emperor?
From what you've heard so far and the fact that he's trying to be murdered, that's your call. Like, do you want Hillman to be like, yes, you're the emperor? No, why are you talking?
Jap. I just address him as the emperor. Oh, the emperor.
Wait,
how are you turned into a llama?
I don't know. I just want to go back into being a person, and apparently there's that vial over there, and he points to you the direction. It is a cabinet full of little potions. One of them is in the shape of a human being. The rest is just various animals.
Okay.
Apparently I need to get that into my mouth.
Let me help them. I can help you get the vial. Just tell me what to do. I don't know.
I don't know what to do.
I
just all I wanted to do was make my pool house on the hill. It's like, why does everybody hate me? Like, I'm a great emperor, right? I'm a great emperor.
The general public doesn't think so, but I think so.
I'm gonna give you a promotion. And then I'm gonna... No. I don't know what I'm doing. Yzma, who has burst in, is now yelling at Kronk, and she pulls a lever, and Kronk falls in through the chute, screaming. And then
Yzma and Kronk fall.
Only Kronk. Yzma is holding on to the lever, and she's like, if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. And she closes the trap door, and she calls guards in. Now there are 6 guards rushing in, and they definitely see you because, unfortunately, guards see everyone.
I guess.
And they're sort of pointing their stuff at you, and asking like, "Oh, what are you doing here? This is supposed to be a secret place." Yzma finally realizes you're there. Yzma sees Salem and recognizes you, and be like, "Weren't you that girl who was talking to me?"
I'm just a conscience.
Guards, take her. As the guards rush towards you, Pancha comes in, smashes a whole bunch of vials onto the guards, and they sort of miraculously turn into various animals.
Oh.
But now they're animals wearing armor. And one turns into a tiny bunny that cannot do anything.
Jerry, who was just cleaning the place up, now has to deal with even more crap.
Literally and figuratively.
How close is Yzma to the trap door?
Yzma is sort of like 10 feet away from the trapdoor, but you do see that there is bits of a vial with a pinkish mauve liquid that used to have the label cat on it. And you think that would be a great idea to lead her there, or at least push her in the direction.
He will use his broom skills to like sweep it up at her instead.
Okay. Let's go heads or tails.
Let's go tails.
Okay.
Oh,
Nice.
not this
Okay.
time.
The sad part is you managed to sweep the goop off the floor, but some of it also splashes onto you. So you watch as Isma turns into a tiny mauve cat, freaks out, and asks whether or not this is her voice. But now you are also a tiny cat holding a very large broom. And she's
Oh no, Jerry
panicking.
realizes that he now can clean himself as well.
Are you purring at this thought?
Yes, he's gonna turn into a little fluffy ball and purr.
Salem and Hillman, you see your supervisor, Jerry, turn into a cat. Jerry, tell me what color this cat is and essentially what it looks like.
Well, it's going to be a calico, the white and black one.
Okay.
Because there's always going to be half of it that can never be clean.
You bamboozled yourself. It is unnecessarily cute as you start immediately cleaning yourself and there's purring noises. It is really up to you. You still have your intelligence. You can still talk as a human being would. You're like an awakened animal creature. For some reason, even as a cat, you can use a broom. So what are thumbs? It doesn't matter. But Isma is freaking out. She is grabbing the vial that looks like a human being. Next to her is the Emperor, also trying to grab the vial, and the grab sort of causes the vial to clink on the ground, clink on the side, and then clink towards a sort of longkang fountain that goes off into a ravine. You have seen this before. You're not excited about how this is going to happen. But you also don't want to deal with this nonsense because right now there are 6 guards in various animal forms coming after you. What is happening? What are all 3 of you doing? Jerry is a cat.
The guards are coming towards us lagi.
Yeah, there is a rhinoceros guard. Don't let's not ask how these guards are holding weapons as animals. Thumbs are not important. So there's a rhinoceros guard, there is a elephant guard, there is a giraffe guard, there is 2 rabbits on the ground. It is no longer wearing its guard outfit, but it's still wearing the guard helmet, and it's got knives out.
Meow. Jerry cat will run out of there.
Jerry has left. Jerry, where are you going?
He's going to jump out to a high place and hope the others know how to follow and get out of there.
Okay.
Because for once, cleaning is no longer his problem.
Jerry, you run outside and you see the vial up top. The human vial that has clinged to itself. It's a little bit too far for you, and you are too much imbued with the need to self-clean and just general apathy towards the situation to maybe do anything. But it's there. Hillman and Salem, there are guards. What are you doing? They're coming after you.
Wait, can we hide?
They see you. They definitely see you.
I yell, "Why are you chasing us? Go help your boss."
Yeah.
Okay,
While
flip
flipping my
a
hair.
coin. Flip
Oh.
a coin to see if it works. Pick a side.
Tails.
Okay.
Ah!
You say that out loud, and your dazzling smile and sheen of beautiful skin flashes towards them. Unfortunately, they're animals, and they're like, "But we are doing our jobs. Aren't you part of whatever this is?" And they continue chasing after you. One of them stabbed towards you, but this is a cartoon, so there's no blood, there's no death. It's just a lot of cartoon pain and violence.
Oh.
Um.
What are you doing now? The two rabbits are nipping at Salem's feet, not doing much. But they're just trying to bite you, but you know rabbits, right?
I
Um.
said, say like, I can help you turn back to human. I know what to find. Yeah, say that.
Okay, pick a side and
Just put your weapons down.
pick a side and flip a coin to see if
Like-
Oh, okay. They hear this and they're like, well, two of them look at you, the one that was chasing after you. The rabbits are too busy with Salem. Go. One is the elephant. The other one is the rhinoceros. They look at each other and be like, "Oh, yeah, it's I kind of have to go back to my wife." And the other one goes, "Yeah, me too."
Okay, so they walk with me, ke?
They put down their weapons and they're like, "Yeah, we're just gonna sit over there. Yzma's kind of scary."
Okay.
Salem, what are you doing with the two bunny rabbits? They're being annoying. They're just running around your feet, trying to trip
Oh.
you.
I'm gonna try and pet them.
Flip for pet. Heads or tails?
You know, I want to pet them on the head, so gonna pick head.
Okay.
Oh.
You reach out to pet one, and the other one manages to chomp on your hand.
Ow.
Okay. Yes. They're still being annoying.
Okay. I want to discipline them now.
Oh,
Bad
okay.
rabbit.
One of them
Whenever-
sort of cringes after munching on your hand, but at the same time they're still attacking because they're still guards. They still have to do a job.
Ugh. Okay. Wait.
While you have
Okay.
a think, Jerry, you're a cat. You're now cleaning your foot and toe beans. You're sort of nibbling on one of the toe bean nails. So you're like,
Okay.
as a human, I've never been able to do this before. Look, a butthole.
Ew.
Cats.
Uh,
But as you're
Jerry starts to notice that, well, there is a vial of something there. There's a temptation to bat it.
Yeah.
Is anything coming out they could bat it onto?
Cat.
Oh, look.
Cat understands.
There.
He's like, I also like butthole. There is nothing that you can sort of grab onto to help you bet, but what does come out of the window or the opening that you essentially came out of is a giraffe's head and then a neck and then neck and then neck and then neck. Just really long neck.
Oh,
And it's going towards the vial.
he will bat the vial at the giraffe. Like, go away.
Let's, for accuracy, pick a side of the coin and roll.
Tail.
Oh!
Oh,
Okay, you bet the vial, but instead of hitting a giraffe, it does not hit anything and it falls. Fortunately, it doesn't fall towards the ravine. It falls towards the left. And you just fall it tumble. At the same time, you hear Yzma's voice as she is punted out of the window. There's a lot of punting in this palace. Out of the window, and she also falls. And she sees the vial fall near her, and she turns into an aerodynamic cat. She puts her arms backwards, and she pretends to be an arrow to try and catch that vial. And then she realizes, I'm going to fall. Meanwhile, Salem, the two bunnies are still at it.
I know how to do it now.
Okay.
I said sit. Do you want to be rabbit pot pie?
Hearing this, they sort of think about it for a second. Heads or tails, and then flip a coin.
Heels.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Immediately after like a split second of thinking, they realize rabbit pot pies are good if you're a human, but as a rabbit, you kind of don't want to be that, and immediately they shrink away from you. And they manage to sort of go behind Pancha and the Emperor, and they trip and they start falling towards the ravine.
Oh, okay.
You see this happen. You hear ah.
Not my problem.
Jerry, you see the vial disappear. You hear this commotion happening. You see the llama / emperor. I hope all of your characters have realized that yes, this is the emperor. The llama is the emperor. Sort of fly down in front of you and then manage to wedge themselves in like a funnel type thing to stop themselves from falling into the ravine. The vial falls down, disappears, and then for some inexplicable reason is now moving back upwards. And a wind blows and it lodges itself onto another ledge. Shortly after the vial bounces, you see an angry Yzma cat also bounce up, and she's clawing at the air. She manages to grab hold of the giraffe, and she sees the vial. Both
Oh, damn.
Hillman and Salem. Hillman, casually making sure that his quadrupedal bros are chilling on the benches. You don't know where the sixth guy went. Probably turned into a fly. And you look down, and you see these two guys now attempting to climb up. It's kind of ingenious, actually, the way they use their backs as ballast to sort of
Oh, yeah.
make sure they don't fall, and they use their own legs to make sure, like, spider walk up. And then you see Pancha sort of gets pushed up with the Emperor's really long neck, and he plucks the vial off the ledge. You see Yzma running past, clawing on the giraffe, who is kind of in pain. Does anybody want to do anything?
Jerry will look around. Is there anything else on the roof that's interesting to bat as well?
On the roof. Flip a coin. Heads or tails?
Tails. Nope.
Heads. You are stuck with Kitty Ennui. There is no bird's nest. There is no shiny trinkets. There is only Giraffe Neck, another cat who is coincidentally in your territory. How dare it? And you suddenly feel rage that you've never felt before as a human being. Territorial rage.
It will jump at the other cat.
Okay, what are you doing?
Get it? jump at the other cat and like knock it off, send it back, make it go home.
From which you came. Okay. Roll the coin.
Tails.
Hey! With finesse and speed that you never had as a human being, you jump up, you scurry up the neck, and you do like a swirling kitty kick onto Yzma's face. And with cartoonish nonsense, her face punts itself, pushes itself as if it were made of liquid to the side in slow motion as she detaches from the giraffe, who is now clawed up and slowly going back into the walls. Just, I don't want to be here anymore as a giraffe. This is stupid. I quit. And Yzma falls into the depths. All of you see, finally, the Emperor, currently a llama, climb back into the vestibule where all of you are. Jerry, you're still on the ledge. You've protected your territory from whatever that is. Mauve cat. Weird. Ew. All of you see the llama usher the bottle to Pancha. And Pancha opens it and pours it into the llama's mouth. And the llama turns into the Emperor. Hey! Okay, so I'm the Emperor. All of you are fired, except for you, pretty man. You, girly, and yeah. The rest of you are fired.
Oh.
Cause
Can you
why?
not fire the cat?
There's a cat.
Yeah,
The cat
it's our
has
mascot.
sauntered off to its own self. It is now a cat. It is happy.
Where is the cat? There's a cat?
Could you
You
not
see-
fire everyone?
The other sassy cat.
You sort of see the Emperor now naked, sort of
Oh.
looking around for a cat.
No,
Sir, is it okay if you don't fire everyone? I don't want to be understaffed again.
I don't know what that means.
Do we need enough people to run a palace?
It's fine. I'm sure there'll be somebody, but I'm talking about these guards who, tried to murder us.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Are there other people? Also, where's the big guy? The dumb one. He's fired too.
ada ke dia?
And then you
Okay.
see the Emperor sort of go with Pacha into a separate room. And the animal guards, especially the ones that Hillman sort of befriended, look at Hillman like, okay, what do we do now? Thank you, me. I would like my thumbs. I don't know how I'm holding this spear. I think there's Velcro.
Devotion habis
There was only one that you saw. Just as you look at the counter, the cupboard, which is now empty, bereft of potions, you hear the shriek again of Yzma Cat fly up. There has to be a trampoline at the bottom. There's no way this is happening, right? Hillman, make me heads. You remember something important. Tails, you don't.
Okay. I
You don't. It's fine. This will be a question that you will ask yourself forever. You'll be like, how? How, cat? Huh? Anyway, Yzma is coming up slowly. I will give you the option to decide whether you want to grab her, because it seems she knows how these potions work, or let her bounce for eternity. I don't know.
I grab her lah.
Okay. make me a coin flip. Your choice of sides to see whether she claws you or not. Like, do you grab her by the scruff or do you grab her by the stomach?
By the nape.
Yeah.
Head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Head.
Okay, heads.
Mhm.
You get heads. You grab her amazingly by the scruff. She is like a bat out of hell trying to claw you, but she is also very tiny. Like, we know cats. When they want to scratch you, they will contort. But because you've got such a good grip and you're relatively safe, she cannot, and you're just looking in front of her and she's swearing at you like the day has not ended and she is just throwing a literal hissy fit.
I tried to calm her with my face. Ling.
Pick a side and flip a coin.
Lagi. Okay, tails. Okay.
Okay. How do you calm her with your face aside from putting it into the perut and getting scratched up?
Huh? Oh, look at her, puppy dog eyes. Terus tu macam tilt my head. Ting. My hair falling
Okay.
to the
What
side.
what happens is as you flip your hair in slow motion, you know the stars that appear in cartoons when something is beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
like those random stars, those appear. And then what happens is because it appears, the cat gets distracted because there's a shiny thing and tries to bat at it and essentially becomes kitten. Like, oh, toy, shiny toy. Look, I'm a cat now. What do you want? Let me go.
I said to her like, don't you want to be a human again? Like, can you make some of more of the potion for human?
I want to be Empress.
You
Human.
No one gonna listen to a cat as an empress. You better turn yourself into a human first.
No one's gonna listen to you once I shred yours to shreds. Make me a coin flip to see if she eventually listens to you after much cajoling. Also, your two bros are still at the side, like, I don't know, man. You want to live on a safari? Like, it's weird.
No.
You know, animals don't wear clothes. Head.
Okay, yeah. Head.
She
Not head.
is screaming at you. And as she screams at you, she manages to wrestle herself out. She drops to the ground like a freaking spy cat and runs. The two guys who look at you, were waiting for an answer, looks at you and goes, you know what? I'm sure our families will understand. Also, she can't go very far. She's a cat. We've worked for her for a while. She's kind of tenacious. As long as you promise you'll get those things to us eventually, since you're not getting fired, but we are. Also, being an animal means we can just stand around naked all day. I think that's nice. And they also leave.
Can I try to take the vial yang human tu? Itu like isi air.
Yeah, sure.
Kasi like
It's on the floor.
Boleh?
Yeah.
I take the vial and pour some water in it and then shake it.
Okay.
So I call out to one of them. Wait, try drinking this. Maybe there's some left. Oh, tadi cakap. But before that, if I give you this, you need to be my best friend.
Okay.
Dia kata okay.
He looks at you. Which one are you addressing? Are you addressing the elephant or the rhinoceros?
Rhinoceros.
Okay, rhinoceros. The rhinoceros sort of lumbers towards you. It's sort of half taking off its gear, like bestnya. Tak pakai baju, haha. And then he thinks about it. He nods, and then he takes the bottle from you, What did you want me to say?
Just call me your best friend. I just want to hear it.
Like, hey, buddy, if this works, you are my best friend, and you're invited to all the bar mitzvahs. Okay?
Ah.
Uh, he looks at the vial. He shakes it, and then he squints as he downs it. Hilman, do you have an auto pass?
Why tak guna lagi?
Yeah. Do you want to use it now?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay. What happens is the vial is consumed. Man waits for a while. He feels tingly. Nothing happens for a while, but he puts his hand on your shoulder. And he goes, "Look, you tried and made sure that we were out of trouble. So, honorary best friend."
Yeah.
As he says
yeah.
that,
Good enough for me.
his arm turns into a human arm, but the rest of his body does not turn into a human anything. But because you chose to use your auto pass, the magic sort of fizzles out, and the arm goes back to its state as a rhinoceros. And you breathe a sigh of relief because you don't know what would be worse, to have a rhinoceros with one arm that is human and can tip over, or just a rhinoceros. I think being a full rhinoceros is better. And the fiasco finally is done. Jerry the cat remains to be seen. I'll start with Hillman and then Salem and then Jerry to see what you do once the day is over. Because as far as you're concerned, you've done your job. You heard talks about how this resort-style hilltop swimming pool is scrapped for another place. So you're invited back into the palace to start working there again. Salem, you get to work in the kitchens because somebody has been telling other people that you make amazing food and
Oh
your
my God.
cheesecake is the best.
Yay!
Okay. Hillman, what are you doing? Now that the day is over,
I
how
quit
do you
my
want
job.
quit your job? Okay.
Then I go find the model agency guy too.
He's not model agency guy, he's more like smart shop owner.
Boleh lah. I find the smart shop owner guy and accept
Oh, you
his
are
offer.
back. Welcome back. This is your contract. You just have to sign here. But don't worry, I'm not trying to con you. You should read it first. Maybe take a day or two to think about it. I'll be here all 2
I
weeks.
signed it right away before he even finished sentence.
This is great.
Done and done.
You start immediately. He snaps his finger, and for some inexplicable reason, a painter appears, sets up shop, and asks you to sit down and starts moving your head to find the optimal side and starts painting you. Salem, what are you doing?
Wait, what's happening? Hold on.
We have ended the game. I just want to know what your character is doing once all this
Oh.
nonsense is over. Like, for some reason, what? This has been a wild 4 days.
Kind of has. Okay. I'm gonna start like getting ready to finally bake what she always wanted to do.
You have
And-
stuff now.
Oh my God. And I'm gonna cry tears of joy because we're not understaffed.
Yay.
Okay. You also are in control of the Emperor's new dessert cart.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So you have moved up in this world.
I have.
We now go to Jerry. Jerry, what's happening?
Well, as a cat, He finds he can clean himself effectively, and because a cat cannot do a cat has a limited amount of function, so he moves on to directing people to clean because people obey cats apparently. They showed that they were willing to obey Isma, so there's no difference here as far as he's concerned.
For the record, you, even as a cat, have the ability to speak and manipulate objects because what are thumbs?
Yeah. And he's actually able to get sleep in now because as a cat, he's necessitated to sleep some 18 hours a day.
People
He
respect you.
delegates tasks to people.
People respect you now. Your promotion into being a wandering custodian is rescinded, but you are now watcher custodian. Because nobody can say no to cats. Come on. There have been word that some people disagree with your methods. These people are dog people. Ew. But it's fine. You get your 18 hours a day. You groom yourself to contentment. And sometimes you use your tail to sweep the floor just to remember what it felt like. And this is where the story of Jerry, Hillman, and Salem ends.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Kelakar lah kita.
Thank you for playing. I hope you had fun. And next week, we will be playing Warhammer 40k, but it's D&D. Thank you for watching. Bye!
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for running, Shah.
That